Alright, folks. Nicholas J, the bee pimp here. I am getting into the beehive. The last video that you saw was the hive beetle problem. And an update on that, the hive beetle traps that I made with the political yard sign and the roach bait, it worked pretty well. I see no signs of hive beetles in the colony, but that's a good sign. But we have another problem. We are queenless. It means there's no queen in the hive to lay eggs. The hive is completely filled up with bee bread and honey, and the bees are aggressive on me. There's still bees in the colony, but sooner or later they're all gonna die because they have no queen to continue laying. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one frame of eggs, if there are any, in this hive right here, and I'm gonna place them in this hive right here, and I'm gonna take out a couple of frames of honey on the outside of the colony of the brood chamber. That's the big box on the bottom. I'm gonna take one out of there, and I'm going to replace it with a frame that has eggs on in hive number 2 in hive number 1. The bees that are in hive number 1 will recognize the eggs that are in there, and then they will turn one of them or a few of them into a queen cell, and then they will take over and raise their own queen again. This is why in one of the first videos I posted, I said that it's very important to have more than one beehive, so that when things like this happen, you can fix the problem instead of having to depend on an apiary supply house, which could be an hour drive one way. It is for me. And during this time of the year, it is January here in Central Florida, there are no queens available. The difference between my beekeeping and beekeeping other places around the world is that I can do beekeeping year-round. Problem is the resources for those bees are pretty scarce during the winter times here in Central Florida. Have a completely different set of problems to deal with than those in northern states. Alright, so it's one of those things to deal with beekeeping is that you need to have a lot of spare parts around. Luckily, I have an empty frame here. It's not been drawn out with comb. It's got a plastic backing on it that's coated with wax. So let's get in here. Forgot my smoker. So the magic of TV time. Alright, let me think about this here. This is the first for me. The beekeeping community is an absolute godsend. I think in one of my earlier videos, this is why I posted the importance of getting into a beekeeping club. Let's see where they are on their honey production. Alright, so these girls have some time. Their honey is not capped over yet, but this is the reason why I think my other colony is queenless, is because I think they swarmed on me because they didn't have enough room. There are no hive beetles in here. Good sign. Propolis ain't no joke. Alright, so what we're doing here is we're actually looking for frames in this brood chamber with eggs in it. And then I'm going to replace that with this empty frame here. You can see here, this is all capped brood. And what I'm looking for is the youngest eggs I can find. Alright, I had to change my tire here a little bit. Alright, right here, I'm not sure if you can make it out, but I have the queen right here, confirmed where she is. I am queen right in this colony. Alright, I had to change my veil because they were getting in my veil. So I'm going to remove this one, put in this one, and just hope for the best. All right. You can see them all over me. I gotta get out of here. Okay folks, so it's the next day right now. So what happened just a minute ago in this video, yesterday in reality, they got really aggressive with me. They got inside my veil and I couldn't take the veil off to get them off my skin. I got stung real bad all over my neck and on my face. Ginger, my little wiener dog, got stung up on her face as well. Her little snout got swollen. It's kind of funny looking. But anyways, what I'm doing right now in the hive number 2, in order to keep the queen from swarming like she did in hive number 1, I am taking out comb and I'm replacing it with new frames right here. I put them together. I didn't bother nailing them. I'm using Type-On 3. It's non-toxic and waterproof after it's cured and dried. But I'm gonna give them some more space. I'm taking out 5 frames of honey. Yes. And then I'm gonna put these in there so that they have space which is the #1 cause, as I understand it, for them swarming and leaving the hive, leaving it queenless. All right, so it's been 7 days since we've been in the hive. It's been exactly 7 days. It's an overcast day. Honeybees are a lot more susceptible. They're more sensitive to barometric pressure than we as humans are. So they're going to be acting a little bit differently on a rainy day or a day that's about to rain or an overcast day. Right now they're hovering around my face quite a bit, but they're out of feed right now. We're going to get them fed. 7 days ago we took a frame of brood out of hive #2 here, and we put it in hive #1 with hopes of getting the bees in hive #1 to produce a new queen with the eggs that were in that brood frame. Now, we're going to look at that frame itself, and we're going to make a determination. If there's not any queen cell coming out, or if they haven't done it fast enough, I'm going to take a different approach until we get into the spring season. And I'm going to show you that here right now. All right, let's get in here. Now, I watched the footage from the last Friday that this video begins on, and I was in the hive for way too long, and I think that also might have been a reason for them getting aggressive with me. So we're gonna get in here. We're gonna see how that, if there's a queen cell being developed. If not, remember that queens are necessary to the hive to survive long term. The honeybees in here, although they are queenless, are going to continue doing their normal honeybee activities, hence foraging and producing honey by evaporating the nectar that they bring back in. So we're going to get in here, and I'm going to show you the option that we have here in Central Florida, especially in case they aren't doing that. So without further ado, all right, we're going to drive these girls down. All right, so there's still capped brood on there. They have capped over what was there, and they did not form a queen cell. So we're not going to try to get them to build a queen here. We are going to take a different option. We're going to take what's called a newspaper combine. I'll show you that right now. All right, so the idea here is that since they're queenless and they have not started to build out a frame, and the time of year that we're dealing with right here, we're going to take hive body #1 and we're going to combine it with hive body #2, and we're going to let them become an even stronger single colony. Later on, after the spring, we're going to split that colony, and then we'll have two colonies, two hives again. So the idea here is to take a single sheet of newspaper, and we're going to combine that on top of hive #2. This piece of newspaper will create a barrier between the two hives. It will allow the scent of each hive to get each hive acclimated to one another. Their little mandibles, their little pinchers on their mouth, they can actually chew through this. As they're doing that, they're getting used to the scent of one another. And if we were to not do this, they would be fighting all over the hive, and it could cause a lot of dead bees and a lot of stress on the colony, and I don't want to do that. So this allows them the chance to acclimate to one another because of the scent. Get the feeder out of here. Now, a note on this: the queen actually has a natural tendency and wants to lay higher up in the hive. So once this newspaper barrier has been eaten away and thrown out by the attendants that stay in the hive here, the queen is actually going to want to move up higher into the hive and lay in there as well. So let's take just a quick look at what we did 7 days ago with this outside frame. They're starting to draw out comb on it, I can see already from where I'm standing. I'll pull that out for you to see. Not a lot, but you can definitely tell they're doing that. Alright, so I forgot to smoke these girls here. Get them driven down. Get this single sheet of newspaper here after cleaning up this burr comb. Now when you're cleaning up your burr comb, you're not going to put that on the ground. You're not going to leave it off for other critters, because that's going to attract pests that you don't want around your hive. But we're not going to throw this away either. We're going to use it, melt it down, put it in our wax collection, and then render it later. With this newspaper here, I've combined it, 2 pieces of newspaper here with a single piece of tape, and I'll grab that out of the hive next hive inspection, which will be 7 days from now. So lay this off, lay this right there so the wind doesn't take it. And as I said, the bees will chew through this, and you're gonna see, if you have to do this, a whole bunch of shredded newspaper coming out of the entrance of the hive. Alright, let's get this over here. So you know what? I'm gonna put the honey super on top, and then that hive, and then we'll recombine later so that the bees and the honey super aren't gonna fight with these girls right here. I'm starting to be too long in this beehive, so I gotta move things pretty fast. If I miss something on frame and on camera, I apologize. Now, had I not had this new veil on, I'd be absolutely impaled here. You can see they're all over me. All right. So they're really loud right now. They're all over the place. They're attacking my face, although they can't. I'm gonna go ahead and get this cleaned up and get out of here, and we'll check them again in a week. Alright, so this is where I'm not really sure about what's going on, if what's happening is normal or not. But with all the thousands of bees that are at the base of on the ground in front of the beehive, I'm curious to know if all of those dead bees is to be expected. I think what happened is that they are fighting, trying to get into the entrance. I'm not entirely sure. And this is where I'm asking you, advanced beekeepers and more intermediate beekeepers, for advice down in the comments below. Next video is going to be the reveal of the We're gonna open up in the hive inspection to see what's going on with the newspaper, and then we're gonna take out that middle honey super and we're gonna put it on the top. So basically what I'm asking is, after I've done all this, should I have expected to see all the dead bees out on the ground in front? Any answers that you can give me is more than I have already, so I really appreciate you commenting down below.